the really original thing that the Chinese can do is to say to the world, really and seriously, we don't want to be another empire that then collapses. We are going to try to develop a genuinely multipolar world. On the ground in Ukraine, that war is already over. Russia has won, Ukraine and the West have lost. The danger is that the West will be so upset by that loss that they will risk nuclear weapons. And then, of course, I have no idea where that takes the world, and I don't even want to think about it because it is so horrible. But here's the ironic way it may help. If a ceasefire is arranged, if the war finally gets negotiated to an end, it will be extremely likely that the West will work overtime to make Russia the evil, blameworthy scapegoat. And that will take some of the pressure off of China. And what you'll begin to see, and you're already seeing it, is a desperate effort led by the United States and Western Europe to separate China from Russia, to split, so that they can blame Russia and have China join, or at least stay away. The problem with that strategy is that for most Americans, they never see anything made in Russia. If you go to a store here in the United States, everything says made in China. Everything we buy, my shirt, my telephone, all the things here on my desk, they're made in China. Everybody in America knows China, right? They know that the electric cars are now coming from China, and they know that the solar panel that allows them to use the sun for electricity, it comes from China, et cetera, et cetera. So they can be told China is the evil. Nothing comes from Russia. Americans, I don't know what is imported from Russia, but you never see anything that says Russia. So that will make it more difficult. On the other hand, they have portrayed Mr. Putin as an evil warmonger. There's a warrant out for his arrest as a war criminal. They have turned Putin into Stalin. They have resurrected Stalin as a great evil, and Mr. Putin is a modern Stalin. So an enormous amount of work has been done, and they may stay with that, but that will put pressure on China, as you already have. American leaders go to China and tell you not to send the goods, not to trade with Russia, not to buy Russian oil and gas. I mean, China doesn't listen, and the Russians, I know, are grateful for that. The Indians don't listen either, and they buy the Russian oil and gas, and that made the Western sanctions against Russia useless. It has changed world history. But my guess is it's going to take a lot of work, and I hope the Chinese do that work, because it'll make it more likely that we succeed in having a world where we work out our differences rather than end up in warfare against one another. Because if you want to get an idea of where that leads, just look at Ukraine or look at Gaza, and you can see what warfare will do. It solves nothing and only makes everything much, much worse. It's our history. It's always the answer. It's our history. Let me give you an example. When the United States decided it did not want anymore to be a colony of Great Britain, which is how, remember, the British came to North America. They ethnically cleaned. That is, they slaughtered the people who lived here. The indigenous, original American people were killed in huge numbers by the arriving British. Okay? They set up a colony with settlers from Europe who came. Okay? Then at a certain point, 1776, these people here didn't want to be a colony anymore. And they said to England, we want independence. At that time, England was the great hegemonic power. The British fought 2 wars to repress independence. The War of Independence in 1776, and then a few years later, what was called the War of 1812, the second time Britain tried to destroy the the independent country. So this country was born in a struggle against a hegemonic empire, Britain. That's why this is the way it thinks about the world. Over the 19th century, after it had defeated Britain in both of those wars, it began to economically develop as an independent country, and it saw its job as replacing Britain. They thought that's the way the world works. You've had the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Turkish Empire, the British Empire, and now it's our turn. We have the American Empire. So they anticipated that it would last forever. This is a little childish, right? No empire has lasted forever. Every empire that went up also fell down at some point. But they didn't want to think about that, just like the British didn't want to think about the end of their empire.
姐妹们总烦恼脸上细纹、干燥与暗沉，现在起跟我一起放心交给 KS Royal Face 皇家颜值逆时奇迹系列。KS Royal Face 皇家颜值逆时奇迹系列，它添加5种 EGF， 专门防止肌肤老化，强化皮肤修复，增加肌肤弹性水嫩，轻松抚平皱纹，换回青春自信。KS Royal Face 皇家颜值逆时奇迹，活肤露、全效精华、精华霜，即刻启动冻龄密码。